Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with the Denver Omelet. That's right, I'm very excited to show you the delicious answer to a question no one's ever asked, and that would be, what is the opposite of a French omelet? And not only was this omelet one of the first things I ever learned to cook professionally as a short order cook in high school, but it's remained one of my favorite all-time breakfast for dinners. Although this time it was technically breakfast for lunch, but that's not an expression. But anyway, no matter when I enjoy this, it's always a treat, and this is how you put it together. And besides 3 large farm-fresh eggs and some grated cheese, what makes a Denver omelet is the following 3 ingredients. Some nice diced-up smoky ham, some type of onion, I'm using red, but yellow will work as will scallions, as well as some kind of pepper, and traditionally green bell pepper are used for this. And believe it or not, those are one of the huge keys to this omelet's success, and I will attempt to explain why later. But for now, let's go ahead and continue on, and take a fork and bust those eggs right in the yolks. And we'll proceed to beat these up, but not too much. Okay, if you overbeat these, they're going to start to get thin and watery, and that's not really what we want. So we're only going to beat these until they're just combined, at which point we'll stop and head over to the stove, where we will add our ham, pepper, onion mixture to some butter we've melted over medium-high heat. And we'll also toss in a nice big pinch of salt, as well as a little touch of freshly ground black pepper. And what we'll want to do is cook this mixture for a few minutes until our onions and pepper start to soften, and our ham starts to caramelize just a bit. And exactly how long this is going to take is going to depend on how small you diced your stuff. But keep in mind, once we pour our eggs in here, this stuff is not really going to continue to cook any further. And since I really don't want crunchy onions and peppers in this, I'm going to make sure I go long enough so those things soften and sweeten up. So that's what I did. I cooked that stirring on medium-high heat until eventually it looked like this. And then what we'll do once we've decided that's gone long enough is reduce our heat to medium-low, and we will go ahead and pour in our egg mixture. And unlike the French omelet where we do a little scramble first, here we're not going to do that. We're simply going to give it a little bit of a mix, just enough to make sure our ingredients are distributed relatively evenly. And we'll go ahead and clean up the sides of our pan, but that's it. We're basically just going to let this sit on medium-low, sort of cooking from the bottom up, until our top is still wet but not runny. And while we're waiting for that to happen, we can go ahead and sprinkle over our cheese, which for me was a beautiful local white cheddar. But of course, any of your favorite cheeses will work, including the traditional American cheese. So that's up to you. You are, after all, the Joan Jett of your Denver omelet. And by the way, if you're from Europe and always wondered what American cheese actually was, sorry, we're not sure. But anyway, we'll sprinkle that over, and maybe also add a little shake of cayenne to stay in shape. And that's it. Like I said, we're simply going to wait for this to firm up until the top still looks sort of wet, but it's not really runny anymore. And we'll just monitor that with our eyes and with our spatula, and by giving it the old shake it once in a while. And right here it's getting close, but still a little bit wet. So I gave it another minute until it looked like this, at which point I determined it was ready to fold, which we will do exactly right in half. And that's it, our Denver omelet is done. And we can go ahead and transfer that onto a plate and start to enjoy what is a completely different omelet experience to the French omelet we've made before. Since, like I said, it really does have a firmer texture and a lot more caramelization. And then since I am doing this as a breakfast for dinner, and by dinner I mean lunch, I'm going to add a little bit of a salad, and of course some nice toasted bread. And I'm going to grab a fork and go in for a taste. And while I very much enjoy the soft, colorless French omelets, once in a while I really love this as a change of pace. Right, because this is firmer and much more browned, the taste and texture are completely different. And not better or worse, just different. All right, sometimes I feel like a steak, and other times I feel like a burger. Okay, same idea here. And by the way, if you're not a fan of green peppers, and are thinking I should use some red ones because they're sweeter and more flavorful, don't do it. All right, one of the keys here is the way the bitterness from that green pepper brings out the sweetness in the ham and onions. So for me, that's one of the things that makes this combination of ingredients so perfect together. And another thing to remember, just because this style of omelet is not soft, doesn't mean it's hard. All right, while much firmer, this omelet is still moist and tender. And then just in case you were thinking to yourself, I bet when he turns the camera off, he's going to put ketchup on this. Well, you know what? You're right. In fact, I'm going to put some on now. Hey, don't judge me, especially if you haven't tried it like this. I mean, you might be pleasantly surprised. Or horrified. There's only one way to find out. But anyway, that's it. My take on the iconic Denver omelet, made exactly how I learned back when I was 15 years old. Whether you're going to make this for breakfast, or brunch, or breakfast for dinner, for lunch, I really do hope you give this a try soon. So head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.